confession that I need to make to you today. And after I make my confession to you, I hope you do not judge me too harshly. So, my confession to you is that I did not know that so many children live on my street. I did not know that so many kids live on my street. I saw this young man today walking the dog. He was about 13, 14 years old walking his dog. And after looking more closely, realizing what house he was coming in and out of, I was like, that's actually my neighbor's son that I didn't know lived there. How have I not seen this young man? I have no idea how I've never seen this young man before, but with the schools being out because of the coronavirus, um, and these kids are out because even though it is spring break, they probably would have gone on some sort of spring break vacation. So now they're in places where they're not supposed to be, and I'm seeing them at odd times. So they're out and about doing things, and I'm just seeing these kids moving up and down the street, and I'm like, they live here. So normally, I guess I don't see them before they go to school. And then when they come home from school, I don't see them because they're probably inside the house on their social media platforms watching TV, or I'll say something positive. They're probably in some after school extracurricular activity, and so I never got to see a lot of these kids. So it's actually pretty cool to see them and see them out and about doing, trying to be engaged and do stuff outside the house. So I was also actually outside the house this morning taking my morning walk. So I do a 5 mile morning walk around my neighborhood. There is a perfect loop around my house, the neighborhood that my house is in, a perfect loop. And it's a little under 5 miles, and I walk it to clear my head most mornings. And I found that it was really necessary for me to do that because actually, a little bit more confession. Last year, I had a really, really rough year. I had a really rough year with the business, actually, comprehensive grants management. I was having some struggles with it, some growing pains, and just normal things that business owners go through. As you know, I'm the owner of Comprehensive Grants Management. We write grants for organizations all over the country to fund their projects and their programs. So last year for 2019, the business experienced great successes with our clients. And I also, as the owner, experience some very interesting times. So it was necessary for me to carve out or realize certain things that I needed to implement in my daily routine that would help me to manage stress. And one of the things that I implemented was long periods of time alone, which my walk does. So it gives me time alone because I don't bring any social, I don't bring my phone, I don't bring anything with me. It's just me and my umbrella because I live in Florida and it's hot. And if the sun catches me out there, I have my umbrella. Um, and so I do my work. So it's good because it does a few things. It gives me time alone, which for my personality, that is necessary. Two, who is going to pass up on a 5 mile, a little bit under 5 mile, a 5 mile walk? Now that's really good. And to just disconnect for that period of time, that's really, really great. So I found it necessary for me to take that walk in the morning. I was out there this morning. I live in Florida. I actually live in the part of Florida where it's called the Sinkhole Alley. If you've ever heard of a Sinkhole Alley, and we appear on a lot of programs sometimes where they feature sinkholes with people's houses falling into sinkholes and sinkholes just appearing in people's backyards, which coincidentally, it seems like there's a, a a sinkhole in most people's backyards, but they call it, a pond or a lake because it has water in it, and it's a nice water feature in people's backyard. So almost everyone has a pond in their backyard where I live. But where I live, it's extremely beautiful. I love it. You get all these wonderful trees. You have the oak tree. These oak trees are magnificent. You have the palm tree, and then you have the sinkholes, the ponds that you can walk past, and they're so beautiful. So to my story. So I was on my walk this morning, and I was walking, doing my 5 miler. And this route that I take, it's really, really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. As I said, the area is really gorgeous. I like it. Um, so there's a lot of ponds that I pass, and I was noticing that I could see for the very first time. I've never experienced this before. I could see the fish in the ponds because a lot of times I will pass and there are families out there, uh, people out there, guys, girls, they're out there fishing. And a lot of people, mostly, but I noticed, and I never was able to see the fish before. But this morning, I was actually able to see the fish for the first time, which is what is prompting this video for me to make this video for you. So I was able to see the fish, and I was so like in awe of it that, wow, I'm actually seeing the fish. Because normally, when they're fishing out there, I'm like, are they really fishing there? I mean, this pond is literally in that lady's backyard. I mean, she has fish in her backyard. So I saw the fish and I was like, whoa, I can see the fish. But the weirdest thing is, I didn't see anybody fishing. I could see the fish, but there was no one out there fishing. And there was no one out there fishing because it's really, really hot. It's just March, but it's really hot right now. And as a result of it being so hot, the pond they're drying up. A lot of the ponds have actually dried up because maybe they're too small and they didn't have enough water in there. So the less you have, the greater it is for it to be taken away from you. So they evaporated, and the larger ponds are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So now that body of water is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, the fish in the pond, they're clustering closer together, 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 because the body of water is getting smaller. So as a result, when I was passing the pond, I was able to see the fish in the pond, and there was no one out there. And I thought to myself, wow, why is there no one out here right now? The perfect time for you to be out fishing. And it blew my mind. Blew my mind. This thought occurred to me that the reason why they're not out there fishing is because it's really hot. They don't want to be out there in that condition fishing. They would like to fish, but they want to be out there when it's cooler. And that's the way it is that when um, when the opportunity is there for you to succeed, it exists in some really strange and arid conditions that is not easy for you to manage. It's not comfortable. It's not the greatest of condition for you to be existing in or for you to want to exist in. But it is the best condition for success. I mean, when I saw those fish and I thought, how am I able to see them? I'm able to see them because there is less water in the pond. And if there is less water in the pond and I'm able to see the fish, why am I not seeing the fishermen? Well, the conditions that is causing the water to evaporate and the fish to cluster together and the pond to get smaller and smaller, it's making the fishermen uncomfortable. So they don't want to exist in that condition to even catch their own fish, which will be easier for them. And I thought, oh my God, oh my goodness, that's exactly how it is with most success strategies. Most success strategies, it exists in such horrible, uncomfortable environments. And until you toughen up and expose yourself and get accustomed to that environment to maximize the benefit of that opportunity to get what you want to get, to achieve what you want to achieve. In this case, it was the fish. In my case, I own this grant writing firm. So a lot of times, like, no, the coronavirus is upon us and the stock market is looking really horrible. And so grant writing is going to be very, very attractive for a lot of people to say apply for grants because uh, money that normally is out there probably won't be out there anymore because the market isn't looking too good and there's no consumer confidence. And so people will not be putting money into the marketplace. And a lot of businesses, a lot of philanthropic organizations who would have normally had grants probably won't be having their grants anymore. And so the supply of grants will probably dwindle. And because consumer confidence will be so shaken, people will think, well, surely I'm not going to get it because there is no money in the marketplace. There are no grants. And even if there are grants, I won't get it because the bigger guys will get it. And my organization just won't get it. But they don't realize that everyone else is thinking that and they won't show up to the pond. And the fish will just be there and be as visible, as easy to see as anyone can see. But because no one showed up to the pond, no one applied for the grant, even though the grant is available, because no one applied, then you don't get to win. So you have to make sure that you show up to the pond. And in this case, I am basically saying that you have to apply for the grants. You have to apply for the grant. Conditions is going to get tough for us, it seems. It seems that conditions will get tough. It won't be as easy as it used to be, even though it really was not easy for a lot of people to begin with. But even those, it will become harder for because you know what? Bad things happen to good people all the time. That's just the way that the world works. But not the way that I would like it to work, but bad things happen to good people all the time. But when there are really horrible conditions and it's not the best, it's not the most comfortable, it's not an environment or a condition that you would like to exist in, the possibility for success is oftentimes greater. You have to cite that possibility and take full advantage of it. You must put yourself out there in that hot, hot, extreme heat of climate so that you can catch your fish. You can use that analogy in your life so that you can catch your fish because that discomfort is only for that temporary period of time. So you need to strike while the iron is hot, capitalize on that uncomfortable environment to achieve what you need to achieve. so that you can realize the benefits of your own success. So that's what I realized on my walk this morning when I was able to see the fish for the very first time. I thought, fish, but no one fishing. Why not? So you definitely have to strike while the iron is hot. So I hope you're doing great. Please stay safe during the corona virus scare that we're having. Stay safe. Keep yourself safe. Keep your family safe. Keep your community safe.